us.
Pray for us, O Holy Mother of God,
that we may be made worthy of the promises of Christ. Pour forth, we beseech you, O Lord, your grace into our hearts, that we, to whom the incarnation of Christ, your Son, was made known by the message of an angel, may by his passion and cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection, through the same Christ our Lord. Amen.
A Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Gikan sa tagdumala o magkawani sa Radio Philippines Network Incorporated RPN DXKS Radio Ronda. Malipayong Pasko o mabungahong bagong tuig kaninyong tanan.
With us, because we've got your back. Join us on New Day on CNN Philippines.
A lot of realizations and learnings stemmed out of this pandemic, and one of them is to learn to value life, learn to value health, and value the time that you have with each other. Learn to love each other knowing you just don't know what's going to happen the next day and the next, right? But what's even better is doing it with the family. Whether I play tennis, exercise with my children, does wonders as long as you do it together.
Sa energy sector, yung pamilya dapat may energy efficiency know-how. May energy efficiency sa paggamit, sa behavior, at yan na makikita natin sa pamilyang Pilipino sa 2040.
Sabihin nga natin na yung ating energy conservation, hindi naman talaga pagtitipid, kundi wastong paggamit ng kuryente. At kung makasanayan na natin yan, yan ang tinatawag natin, energy conservation is a way of life.
This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Tonight on the program, all eyes on the Supreme Court as justices decide on the constitutionality of the most challenged law in Philippine history, the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020. More Filipinos found work in October thanks to the lower alert level that allowed more mobility for the vaccinated, but it appears these jobs were not enough to get by. And petitions keep on piling up. This time, fellow Ilocanos want to stop former Senator Bongbong Marcos's presidential bid in the 2022 elections. We begin tonight with this breaking news. The Supreme Court ruling on the most challenged law in recent history. Anjo Alimario tells us the decision of the High Court on the anti-terrorism law. Anjo, what do we know so far, and is this a win for petitioners or not?
Pia, a ruling has been reached by the Supreme Court that will decide on the fate of the anti-terrorism law. And on Twitter, Justice Marvic Leonin called out misleading and false information that stated that the Supreme Court declared the law constitutional except for Section 4. Again, that is misleading and false. And Leonin added the justices, or the votes of the justices, have already been tallied during the deliberations, and urged the public to just wait for the official announcement. And just to give you a background, 37 consolidated petitions challenged the law, arguing it violated protected freedoms of Filipinos. But the government, through the Office of Solicitor General, argued that the case should be dismissed since there's no controversy dismissing allegations of detention and red tagging. One of the most contentious provisions of the law is Section 4 that defines terrorism. For the petitioners, it's vague, prone to abuse by authorities, and creating a chilling effect. They also protested Section 25 that gives power to the so-called super body, the Anti-Terrorism Council, or ATC, to designate terrorists, and the designation leads to the freezing of assets. The council has already designated the Communist Party of the Philippines, the National Democratic Front, and the New People's Army as terrorist groups, and later included alleged CPP Central Committee members. Now, petitioners also fiercely questioned the 24-day detention period by a mere written authority from the ATC permitted under Section 29. They sought a stay order that would have stopped the law's implementation, but to no avail. Because of this, critics lamented how red tagging has gone unabated. Now, Pia, we've been told that the results will be out today or tonight, and of course, we've been waiting for that since 5 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or at least a summary prepared by the Supreme Court Public Information Office as to the issues raised by the petitioners. Again, it will be interesting to find out how the justices voted. Of course, you have several possible scenarios how the justices might vote. One, you have SC declaring the entire law constitutional, or it's the opposite, SC striking down the entire law, or third, declaring some of the provisions of the law unconstitutional. So we'll be waiting later tonight, Pia, as to the results, if it will be released by the Supreme Court Public Information Office.
Anjo, as you said, Marvic Leonen, Associate Justice Marvic Leonen, saying that they didn't uphold it completely, right? So that is something that we should scratch from the list. So it's possible that they struck down some provisions of it, the more, or at least the more controversial ones.
That's right, Pia. Of course, the petitioners want the entire law to be struck down by the Supreme Court. But again, you have already the clarification from the Justice Leonen about that misleading tweet by a media outlet. And again, we'll find out later what these provisions that the Supreme Court might possibly declare unconstitutional or constitutional, Pia.
Anjo Alimario there reporting from the Supreme Court. Fewer Filipinos were out of jobs in October amid quarantine restrictions. The Philippine Statistics Authority reports 3.5 million or 3.5 million aged 15 and above were unemployed that month. That's lower than the 4.25 million recorded in September. October's figure is the lowest since July, which tallied a little over 3 million jobless Filipinos. The agency says some 43.83 million adults were employed in October, slightly up from 43.59 million in the previous month. But more Filipinos were underemployed during this period. Authorities estimate more than 7 million were seeking better jobs or additional work hours in October, up from 6.18 million in September. Economic managers attribute October's figures to policies that further reopen the economy while managing the spread of COVID-19. These include shifting to the alert level system and granular lockdowns and allowing more mobility for vaccinated individuals. Over 10,000 workers displaced by the pandemic may soon find jobs with the Public Works and Highways Department. The department launched its Assistance to Youth and Unemployed for Development and Advancement, or AYUDA program, in Manila earlier this morning. This is based on the government's Food for Work program. The agency is accepting applicants for street sweepers, street sign cleaners, painters of concrete barriers, among others, for 550 pesos a day.
As a single parent po, masayang-masaya po ako dahil ito po ay malaking tulong din sa akin at sa aking mga anak.
Ganito na po akong walang trabaho. May laking tulong po sa mga anak ko, sa mga pangailangan sa bahay.
We expect to employ around 10,000 heads of families or children or youth because our department is composed of 185 district engineering offices throughout the country. And we are maintaining around 33,000 kilometers of roads and highways.
Acting Secretary Mercado says funding for this assistance program will come from the agency's maintenance budget. Now, prices of basic goods rose at a slower pace last month. The Philippine Statistics Authority says inflation cooled to a 4-month low in November at 4.2%. Food costs primarily drove the slowdown. Inflation now averages 4.5% year-to-date this year, which the Bangko Sentral says, quote, points to a breach of the 2021 target. Despite the latest figures, the BSP maintains inflation is expected to settle within the 2 to 4% target band for the next 2 years. The World Bank revises its growth forecast for the country. The Washington-based lender says a surprise expansion in the third quarter prompted it to raise this year's growth estimate to 5.3%. The World Bank flags what it calls economic scarring amid the closure of small businesses. This resulted in job and income losses, which then worsened poverty. The lender says the damage the economy suffered from the pandemic could last well until the next administration.
We considered economic scarring in its relation to the potential GDP of the Philippines. Potential GDP before pandemic was around 6.1%. So about 6%. But because of the pandemic, our new estimates show that potential GDP from 2021 to 2029 went down to around 5.7%. So for between 2020 to 2029, we can expect long-term growth somewhere around 5.7%.
The country's economy grew at over 6% pre-pandemic. The government targeted growth of up to 8% to have Filipinos below the poverty line. The country reports its lowest daily case rise since July last year, 356 new COVID-19 infections. This pushes the nationwide tally to more than 2,800,000. Of that number, active cases are at over 13,000. Octa research fellow Guido David predicted today's case count to be around 350 and expects tomorrow's numbers to be the same. COVID-19 positivity rate went down to 1.4%. The country also lists 92 new fatalities, but the health department says only 3 occurred this month. 18% of the new reported deaths happened in November. That was encoded late because of issues with the COVID Gaia system. Today's tally excludes data from 8 laboratories. Another Octa research fellow believes the country has achieved population immunity amid decreasing cases. Father Nicanor Austriaco says another factor is the lowest hospitalization rate since March last year, despite increased mobility. Austriaco points out neighboring countries like Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam still record thousands of cases a day.
The fact that the virus is struggling to find new Filipinos to infect suggests that we have attained substantial population immunity. The Philippines experienced, unlike these 3 other countries, substantial waves of previous variants. So especially the Alpha Beta variant, which struck our beloved country in March and April of this year. And so combining the vaccinations and the natural immunity, what you're seeing here is that many of our cities where the pandemic tends to focus are now stable enough to prevent transmission.
Still, Austriaco stresses we must not let our guard down during the holidays. He says we should celebrate Christmas safely and the government must prepare for the spread of the new COVID-19 variant, Omicron. Austriaco adds hospitals must be ready and staffing increased, and that more people should get vaccines or booster shots to maintain population immunity. Authorities are struggling to locate 8 travelers from South Africa amid the threat of Omicron. They were among the 253 people who arrived in the country between November 15 to the 29th. In a radio interview, health spokesperson Maria Rosario Vergeres says 4 of the 8 travelers only gave their agency's contact numbers, which cannot be reached. Another passenger gave incomplete contact details, while the rest were unresponsive and could not be found on the addresses they gave. The health department appeals to travelers to coordinate with their regional offices to prevent the possible spread of the new variant. Up ahead on Newsnight, presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos faces another petition against his 2022 bid, this time from a group in Ilocos. And we take a look at the different campaign strategies politicians are using for the 2022 polls. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Breakfast bago mag-class? It's so easy. With Pure Foods chicken nuggets. From freezer, straight to toaster, to their tummies. Crispy, juicy, chicken tasty. Pure Foods chicken nuggets.
Ahon, bangon, sulong. Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Pangarap ng bawat Pilipino. Hangarin ng Northern Cement.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Pinalaki ng Northern Cement ang kapasidad ng kanilang planta para steady ang supply ng sementong tigasin. Northern Cement Max Plus, Supreme at Max Pro.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
The time has come.
Philippines, start your engines. Drag Race is now on Discovery Plus. D is for dazzling, for daring. And it's a double D, starting with all of RuPaul's Drag Race UK, including the latest season and the latest of Drag Race Thailand.
It's exciting, refreshing. Y'all ready to make Drag Race her truth?
Get dragged into D Phenomenon on Discovery Plus. Subscribe now at 129 pesos per month.
For my babies, only vet-approved Nutri-Chunks puppies. The only one with active boost and prebiotics na Pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow strong and healthy. Happiness! Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks puppies.
Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang isang ina, handa akong gawin ang lahat para sa kaligtasan ng aking mga anak.
Bandunyaman, tuloy pa rin ang serbisyo para malinis ang kapaligiran. Serbisyong publiko para sa kaligtasan ng lahat.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
Bawat patak, may sarap, may lakas, sulit. Red Horse Beer.
This Christmas season, Robinson Supermarket is giving you and your family more reasons to be happy with Holiday Fair 2021 promo. This promo has fresh and healthy groceries with exciting deals, perfect for the moms and dads out there who are preparing for the holidays. The promo started last November 1 and will stretch throughout the holidays until December 31, 2021. What's best about this promo is that we will be giving away up to 3 million worth of shopping sprees to 60 lucky customers. All they have to do is to purchase at least 1,500 pesos worth of Holiday Fair participating items using their Go Rewards card or app. If you want to avoid the holiday rush, don't worry. Just order your Holiday Fair groceries online at Robinson Supermarket via Go Robinson's delivery. You'll still be able to enjoy all the exciting deals and discounts plus free delivery if you order at least 3,500 pesos worth of groceries. We're also doing the Holiday Fair 2021 live series via Facebook. We will be giving away up to 175,000 pesos worth of cash prizes, gadgets, and gift certificates. So please join us on our remaining episodes. That's on December 4 and December 18. Enjoy this exciting holiday ride with Robinson Supermarket. Happy holidays and safe shopping, everyone.
Welcome back to CNN. Philippines presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos faces yet another petition against his 2022 bid. As Melissa Lopez tells us, the petition was filed by a group from his own bailiwick, the region of Ilocos.
The group Pudno Nga Ilocano, or Real Ilocanos, filed the fourth disqualification case against former Senator Bongbong Marcos on Tuesday. Christian Bunsod, a renowned constitutionalist and former chairman of the Commission on Elections, leads the legal team of these petitioners. Like previous petitions opposing Marcos's 2022 bid, the group says he is not qualified to vie for any government post as he was found guilty of not filing his income tax returns for 4 years when he was vice governor and eventually governor of Ilocos Norte. They also argue the crime he committed involved moral turpitude, or an act contrary to good morals, which is a basis of disqualification under the Omnibus Election Code. The older tax code passed in 1977 also prohibits Marcos from casting his ballot every elections, which in turn makes him not qualified to run for office. Pudno Nga Ilocano member Crisanto Palabay, also a victim of abuses during martial law, says Marcos is unfit to even be a presidential contender.
Paano susunod ang mga taong bayan sa pagbabayad ng buwis kung ang isang kandidato para sa presidente ay hindi nagbabayad ng buwis? Hindi siya karapat-dapat na boto. Kami mga Ilocano, naniniwala na hindi wala ng solid north.
We want it resolved as soon as possible, simply because we don't want the name appearing in the ballot. So this is the reason why many groups, including ours, have filed a disqualification case.
In a statement, Marcos's spokesman, Attorney Vic Rodriguez, said all petitions against the presidential aspirant are nothing but nuisance cases and are, quote, pathetic stunts. There are 7 petitions filed against Marcos's 2022 bid so far and 1 intervention which is yet to be accepted by the poll body. Marcos is pushing through with his campaign activities nationwide despite the petitions, which could suddenly boot him out of the race. The tandem of Marcos and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte is mounting a grand caravan in Quezon City on Wednesday. This will be countered by a protest in UP Diliman within the same city, led by groups calling to cancel the candidacies of Marcos and Mayor Duterte. For its part, the Commission on Elections says Marcos's name will remain on the 2022 ballot design unless the poll body eventually finds a reason to take him out of the race. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
A look now at what other presidential aspirants are up to. Senator Manny Pacquiao's senatorial lineup is now complete. Re-electionist Senator Sherwin Gatchalian and former Senator J.V. Ejercito are joining his slate. Pacquiao made the revelation as he sidestepped the issue of adopting President Duterte as a guest candidate. But Pacquiao stressed he isn't holding any grudges against the president despite the leadership row in PDP Laban. Meanwhile, acting presidential spokesperson Carlo Nograles says Manila Mayor Isko Moreno's offer to adopt Mr. Duterte in his senatorial lineup proves that the chief executive continues to enjoy the public's trust. But Nograles says he does not want to preempt whether Duterte will accept the invitation.
Pangulong Duterte ay tumatakbo sa partido ng PDDS at sinusuportahan din po siya ng PDP Laban. Kung meron man mangyayari pagkatapos nito na mga pag-adapt or di kaya magkaroon ng alliances, ay ayoko pong pangunahan kung ano mangyari sa mga susunod pang mga araw at linggo at maging sa susunod na mga buwan.
As for Labor leader Caliotti de Guzman, he says he will not vote for Duterte as senator. Instead, he wants the president jailed. Meanwhile, Vice President Leni Robredo visited church members and religious organizations on the second day of her visit to Baguio City. And at the annual Arrancada Philippines Forum, Senator Ping Lacson promoted his economic agenda should he win the presidency. This includes launching a so-called Made in the Philippines campaign to encourage buying of local products. Well, the campaign season doesn't officially start until early next year, but we're already seeing plenty of aspirants trying to win over voters through commercials, online, on TV, or massive billboards along highways, among others. In this report, Stanley Gaheta takes a look at the different campaign strategies politicians are using.
A number of politicians seeking national posts want to get ahead of the game, so they hit the ground running in broadcast and social media even before the official campaign kicks off in February. Election paraphernalia are beginning to mushroom, but are campaign messages making an impact on voters?
Usually, ang mga poster na pinapiprint pag eleksyon, iboto ng mahirap para sa mahirap. Karamihan ganito lang ang mga message nila
For composer Francis Contemplacion, music makes the message appealable.
Very short and direct to the point, agad yung atake. Ang labanan kasi ngayon is yung una makakatch, first 10 seconds, dapat huli mo na agad yung nakikinig.
Contemplacion believes music catches the attention of people, especially the masses.
Dapat kasi relatable. Minsan ang gusto nila yung medyo makamasang tipong buduts, ganun, yung mga ganun yung sounds.
Sociologist Verhel Binhay says politicians usually go for the vote-rich D&E class and make the connection by appealing to how their condition can improve.
Kaya inaawitan nila yung nasa base ng madaming mga tao kaysa doon sa mga nasa apex, nasa middle at saka sa higher. Like maraming middle class hindi naman talaga bumuboto. They keep on ranting but they never vote at all. Yung kanilang message no, mayroong emotional appeal doon sa target audience.
He says a number of voters are swayed by entertainment more than the message, especially when it comes to social issues. But Binghay adds, there should be more than the glitz and glamour in a campaign.
Dadaan mo na lang ba sa sayaw? Huwag kailangan mo sumayaw ka, pero temper it with a good message.
Binghay says voters should focus on the quality and truthfulness of the message rather than the medium.
Itong tao na to, ito yung accomplishments, ito yung failures niya, ito yung pangako niya, ito yung kung anong nagawa niya sa pangako niya, ito yung mga criminal record niya, and popularize it, make everyone easily understand it.
In the end, he says these are the things that matter once candidates are elected into office. Stanley Gates, CNN Philippines.
It's all politics, and this time we go local. Catch my interviews with Quezon City mayoral aspirant Mike Defensor and Cainta Rizal mayoral hopeful Ellen Nieto on your weekly political appointment, Politics as Usual, at 8:30. Still ahead on Newsnight, the U.S. declares a diplomatic boycott of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, and a popular singer-slash-rapper reportedly withdrew from this year's Grammy Awards. We'll have details when we return.
I have a group, it's called Beyond Beauties. Pinayayaan na tayo ng Diyos, kailangan tumulong na tayo sa iba. Malaking bagay din kung may mga food supplements. With MX3, talo at akong gumaling maging designer. MX3 is like my beautiful fashion creation, loved by more here in the Philippines and of the world. I am Renan Salud, a Philippine fashion designer and advocate.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
6 na taong serbisyong may tatak ng tapang at malasakit. Inuuna ang ating kaligtasan, seguridad, kapayapaan at kapakanan ng mga nangangailangan. Matatag, may paninindigan at tapat sa bayan. Ibinuhos ang lahat para sa Pilipino, para sa maliwanag na kinabukasan at tungo sa pag-angat ng bawat mamamayan. Ito ang Duterte Legacy.
Love is all about time. Di minamadali ang pagpapasarap. Like the love in every Pure Foods ready to eat. Slow cooked and ready in 8 minutes. Para may time ka sa mga mahal mo. Because love takes time.
So for my fridge decluttering, I found some good ingredients that I could work with, and I have a pretty good idea of what to do with it. We'll be making the home fridge mix, which is a grapefruit and mint kind of cocktail. For this cocktail, you'll need, and for the tools, first we're going to get our shaker, grab our mint, and our simple syrup, and then we muddle. Add your GSM Premium Gin and your grapefruit juice. Lastly, your egg white. And then we're going to close it up and start our dry shake. This basically means we're going to shake our cocktail without the ice. After about 10 seconds, open up your shaker and fill it with ice, then shake again. When your shaker is ice cold, it's time to pop it open and double strain. Garnish this with some dehydrated grapefruit and some mint. There you have it, your very own home fridge mix made with GSM Premium Gin.
Make a splash at mealtime with Pure Foods Seafood Delights. 100% real seafood goodness. Ready to serve in minutes. Pure Foods Seafood Delights. Eat so easy. The new Manila International Airport project is a game changer for the Philippines. Once completed, the world-class airport would have an initial capacity of 35 million passengers annually. Also known as the Bulacan Airport, it is projected to house about 100 million passengers per year. This will help decongest Ninoy Aquino International Airport, the main entry and exit point to Manila for air travelers. The project will be built on an over 2,500 hectare property in Bulacan, Bulacan.
This will include various components, such as airfield facilities, terminal buildings, airport and airline support facilities, access roads, parking facilities, utilities, airport city, and other ancillary facilities. Seen to create over 1 million direct and indirect jobs, the new Manila International Airport will boost the local economies of Bulacan and its neighboring provinces. It is also expected to raise the country's profile and competitiveness as an investment and tourist destination.
Welcome back. The United States is not sending any government official to the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing to go against China's, quote, ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang. Several allegations of forced labor have surrounded the western region. President Joe Biden first announced the possibility of a diplomatic boycott last month in response to the claims. U.S. athletes are still set to compete, though China has responded, with spokesperson Zhao Lijian saying the U.S. should stop politicizing sports so as not to affect China-U.S. relations. And before we go, voting has just begun for this year's Grammy Awards, but one famous nominee appears to have taken himself out of the running. CNN's David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
Too sexy for this syrup, too sexy for your girl.
Too sexy for the Grammys? According to multiple reports, Drake has asked the Recording Academy to withdraw his 2 Grammy nominations for this year, and the Academy has done so. Drake was up for Best Rap Album for Certified Lover Boy and Best Rap Performance for Way Too Sexy. No word why Drake made the request.
I got a call from a girl I used to know. We were inseparable years ago.
Billie Eilish's album Happier Than Ever is up for 7 Grammy Awards, and she's just unveiled her latest music video from the album, Male Fantasy, which she directed and edited. It's been a doubly magical year for Stephanie Beatriz. She's sung the songs of her old friend Lin-Manuel Miranda as Mirabel in Encanto and as Carla in the Heights.
Lynn and I have known each other since we were in our 20s in New York, both struggling artists, and, you know, it feels very incredible to have collaborated with him not once but twice now in my career.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
We have 18 days before Christmas, and that is it for now. Join me again on news.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Gikan sa tagdumala o magkawani sa Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, RPN DXKS Radio Ronda. Malipayong Pasko o mabungahong bagong tuig kaninyong tanan.
A former Ifugao congressman seeks to represent indigenous people as he guns for a Senate seat in next year's polls. Let's get up close with senatorial aspirant Teddy Bagila. Teddy, thank you so much for joining us. You were elected a lawmaker in 2010, and before Congress, you served as Ifugao governor for 2 terms, and as a mayor from 1995 to the year 2000. Bakit mo gusto tumakbo para sa Senado?
Well, as you mentioned, I would like to represent the indigenous people. Or the sectors who normally do not have adequate and effective representation in the Senate. Kasi if you look at the profile of the Senate, that's the political elite that we have in the Philippines. Political dynasties, big business, celebrities. But we don't have voices from the marginalized, indigenous peoples included. Kasama na rin dyan yung mga magsasaka. Because while I'm not claiming to be a farmer, but I have fought for agrarian reform, beneficiaries' rights,
rights of persons with disabilities, in the bills that I pushed in Congress. So sa akin, this is a fight for people who do not normally have strong voice in the Senate.
So, Teddy, ano masasabi mo sa mga kandidato who say they represent marginalized groups but they're not members of this group?
Yes, precisely. That's also the reason why we don't have a lot of progressive laws being passed in the Senate, because the interests are mostly with the elite, the people who are in power both politically and economically. Kaya nga, we need, for instance, to solve the problems of the agricultural sector. Kadalasan, the solution is band-aid solutions like price tarification. But we don't address the roots of the problem, which is one-to-one conversion of prime agricultural lands, which is the lack of agricultural investments in the agricultural sector in terms of infrastructure, in terms of credit assistance, capacity building to farmers. That requires very progressive legislation that addresses systemic problems within the industry. Pero sa ngayon, because the people who are in the Senate are supposed to be passing legislation to address problems of various sectors, are there to protect their own interests, which is political dynasties and big business.
And you mentioned about the agricultural industry, no? This comprises a large chunk of our economy. At ating mga magsasaka, Teddy, have been suffering due to this COVID-19 pandemic. What should the government do to crack down on smuggled vegetables coming from China, which leaves Filipino farmers at the losing end?
Yeah, that's very important, fighting smuggling, which is not just a recent phenomenon. It has happened in the past. Every time na pumapasok ang smuggled Chinese goods, ang kawawa talaga is the farmers directly. Especially from my region, because my region, the Cordilleras, produces vegetables, highland vegetables, for Metro Manila markets. So I think there has to be a stronger enforcement of the laws. It's a matter really of enforcing the law. There's always a law against smuggling. So, kailangan palakasin pa natin yung pag-prevent natin ng smuggled goods. Also, at the same time, I think it's high time that we look into the industry as a whole, the vegetable industry, because it isn't really resilient at all. It's always subject to climatic changes, to natural disasters, to smuggling, even in terms of the food supply chain, among gardeners, they're subject to the machinations of traders. And I'm not saying we should do away with traders, but the problem is with our food supply chain. There are just so many layers of trading. Kaya from the market, and let's say 20 pesos ang presyo ng isang kamatis, ilang layers of trading ang pagdadaanan niya. Finally, when it reaches the market, it's so expensive. So lugi yung farmer because the traders dictate the prices, and lugi rin yung consumer. So again, we have to look into the systemic causes of the problems of the agricultural industry.
At saka sa importation, at saka sa smuggling na ito, no, Teddy, maraming sa ating mga kababayan magsasaka ang nawawalan ng hanap buhay, and many of them have lost their jobs. And of course, during this pandemic, many of our Filipino kababayans have also lost their jobs in many other industries. And right now, the economy is still weak and faces a long road to recovery. If you become senator, how will you try to jumpstart the economy and create jobs through legislation?
Well, nabanggit naman ni Vilelli yung programa natin. Immediate na ayuda muna sa mga magsasaka. I think that's important. There are a lot of businesses who shut down, a lot, especially small and medium enterprises. So yun yung talagang kinakailangan bigyan muna ng support, bailout, you might say so. And ganun rin doon sa mga farmers na affected by this rice tarification. So double whammy. Rice tarification, bread prices of palay, sabi nga ng isang kausap ko na magsasaka, it's no longer profitable for them to continue farming, and then tinamaan pa ng pandemic. So we need to provide them with immediate assistance. And then, as I've said, look at the systemic problems of the agricultural industry. Non-converted is one. in terms also of a major investment program in agriculture in terms of infrastructure. In my 9 years as a congressman and also 15 years in the local governments, wala pa ako nakakita talaga ng malaking investment program in agriculture. I remember we have roads to tourism areas. Okay, help the tourism industry. We even have roads for small and medium enterprises. Pero our farm to market roads, wala. Our irrigations, a lot of our agricultural lands are not irrigated the whole year round.
Pero Teddy, korupsyon, problema rin ba ito sa agrikultura?
Definitely. Corruption is pervasive everywhere, whether it's in
Paano natin lalabanan ito? How do we fight it?
Well, ang importante muna is the leadership. That's very important because it begins, we're very personality-oriented. Ang laki ng ating tiwala sa Pangulo, whoever is elected as president, we place unto herself the challenge of eradicating corruption in the Philippines. I always believe that corruption is dictated by our current political culture. Pero leadership really begins at the top because that's how we view our politicians. So if we're going to eradicate corruption, it begins first with the president. And then we have to look into our officials, the officials that we elect. And then the bureaucracy follows after. Because sometimes, sa ating kaugalian, may mga nagsasabi na ang corruption, bahagi na yan ng kultura natin, which is not true. But yung mga give and take, yung pakisama, those are the things I've noticed in my years in government. It's very, very difficult to fight that culture of corruption because people equate it as something that is a Filipino value, which is not. That's why sa akin, it really begins at the top. And then we have to look now into laws that will provide or will strengthen more transparency in government. Isang tinutulak ko, Rico, is freedom of information.
Right.
It's something that I think would be able to engender more citizen participation in governance and be able to prevent instances of corruption. Kasi nangyayari sa Pilipinas, corruption happens and then we investigate it. But we have a law, progressive law such as FOI, then the citizens will have access to information about government transactions. So sa simula pa lamang, we might be able to prevent acts of corruption.
Yung pet dog mo dyan sa bahay, tumatahol, Teddy. I think you really with all the issues that you are sharing with us. Apart from agriculture, you have also been a champion for different progressive advocacies on women, LGBTQI+. How do you plan to further these initiatives in the Senate?
Well, there's this anti-discrimination bill that I've fought for in the House of Representatives, sexual orientation and gender identity and expression law. Maandar sa House pero hindi masyado sa Senado. So I think that's something that I will continue fighting for in the Senate. There's also this general anti-discrimination law, not just for the LGBT, but for all sectors who feel that they are marginalized or that are discriminated upon. Kasama na dyan ang katutubo, even senior citizens, persons with disabilities. So this is a general anti-discrimination law, which I think we might be able to pass in the Senate if we have more advocates in the upper house.
Agriculture, anti-discrimination bill. What about sa droga, sa issue ng droga? How should the new government fight this war on drugs? Should it continue to adopt an ironclad, no-nonsense anti-drug policy?
Well, we have to look into the drug problem as a mental health problem. It's not just a matter of law enforcement. Of course, we always would have programs or a drive against criminality, a drive against drug addiction. But it's also a mental health problem. Kaya nga itong National Mental Health Law, which I was one of the authors, which is now passed, that's something that we can build upon. Because nagdodroga lang naman ang tao kung sila ay stressed, sila ay depressed. No? So when we look at health, it shouldn't be just the physical health, no? But also the mental health of Filipinos. It is also a social problem because of poverty. That's why people are forced to enter a life of crime, forced to be drug addicts. So those are the various dimensions of the drug problem. It's not just a law enforcement na kamao lang ang paraan, no? But we have to look also into the other social and mental health dimensions of the problem.
Teddy, before we end the first part of our interview, no, surveys are showing more familiar names leading this senatorial race. In the surveys that have been coming out, wala ka pa sa top 12 because you're up against long-time political personalities, and even some of them are from political dynasties. It will really be an uphill battle for you.
Yeah, it's something that I acknowledge. Sa Senado naman, it's about resources and popularity. It's a popularity game usually, no? So definitely, political dynasties have the advantage of logistics, the name they call. But I'd like to think that there's also a significant number of Filipino voters who are also looking for fresh faces. More progressive ideas, fresh ideas. Like ako, I'm bringing in the perspective of a Katatubo. A Katatubo who fights for nature, who fights for the environment. That is something that we rarely discuss in the national halls of discourse, no? The climate action, no? Protection of our biodiversity. It is something that we, the Katatubo, can bring into the Senate. No?
And we will take this short break. We're speaking right now with former Congressman Teddy Bagilat. We will continue our conversation, up-close conversation with Teddy right after this. And we'll also give you a glimpse of what to expect once authorities allow more passengers in public transport tomorrow. Details next, right here on CNN Philippines. News you can use, news you can trust.
Salamat, masarap at sulit. Salamat, award-winning ang quality. Salamat, imported ang ingredient mo. Salamat, for me kay salamat swabing brandy. Salamat sa Primera Light, halina tikman. Primera klase ang Primera Light tinuman. Salamat, free! Drink responsibly.
Protektahi ang imong mga mata batok sa delikado ug makadaot nga ultraviolet nga silaw sa adlaw ug uban pa. Pinaagi sa pagsulob og eksakto nga prescription sa antiyohos o antipara. Likay ang mga simptomas sama sa hanap nga pananaw sa layo o duol nga basahon, sakit sa ulo ug uban pa nga makaapekto sa atong kahimsog nga ang hinungdan depekto sa atong mga mata. Alang sa kumpleto nga primary eye care, contact lenses, fashion eyewear, computer eyeglasses, sunglasses, accessories ug uban pa, adto kita sa AG Buñuel Optical Clinic. Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic nagpahinumdum kanato nga ang kahimsog sa atong mga mata usa ka prioridad nga angay ipa-check up kausa matag tuig aron pagsiguro nga luwas kita sa piligrong mga sakit. Pinaagi sa lisensyado og qualified optometrists nga maoy mo prescribe sa eksaktong kagamitan og kung primary eye care ang paghisgutan. Duaw lang silang buhatan sa 3636 sa Nicolas Street, Surigao City ug adunay ilang extension office sa Aurelianida Street, Cantilan, Surigao del Sur. Ayaw kalimti higala, AG Buñuel Optical Clinic.
Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic doon na branch dito sa lungsod sa Dapa sa may Lupis Haina Street, Poblasyon Dapa, Surigao del Norte.
Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic dinhi sa syudad ng Surigao. No transfer na sa bag-ong location sa Nicolas Street, Ragyahapon, tapad sa Garcia Hotel at bang sa Unicity. Ang Riverside Parts Master Incorporated na silang bagong location sa Dalan, Burgos ning atong syudad. Mahimo niyong tawagan sa telephone number 231-7478 or 826-3663. Mga produkto nga inyong mapalit, genuine, Makita Power Tools sama sa planer, drill, grinder, Triton paints, construction supplies, angle bars, flat bars, GI pipes, automotive spare parts, Firefly electrical devices sama sa switches, bulbs ug outlets. Adto ang Riverside Parts Master Incorporated sa ilang bagong pwesto sa Dalan, Burgos ning syudad. Makahangyo ka o makabarato pagyod diha sa Riverside Parts Master Incorporated.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda DXKS Surigao, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Welcome back to the final word on CNN Philippines. I'm Rico Hizon. We still have with us for up close senatorial aspirant Teddy Bagilat. And Teddy, we have 2 minutes before the end of this interview, and I would like to ask you 6 questions, and please answer them with just a yes or a no. The first question is, do you favor easier public access to the statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth of the President, Vice President, and the members of Congress?
Definitely yes.
Do you support lifting foreign ownership limits in the Constitution?
No.
Do you favor the reimposition of the death penalty for drug-related crimes?
No.
Should a sitting president be allowed to run for vice president in the next election?
No.
Do you favor resuming peace talks with communist rebels?
Oh, yeah.
And should the country be more aggressive in protecting its maritime interests in the West Philippine Sea?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And finally, Teddy, a brief message on why our kababayan should vote for you in the Senate in 2022.
Let's bring in other voices, no? Representing indigenous peoples, representing the fight for nature, fight for the environment. This is something that I've been campaigning for the past 9 years in Congress. It's also bringing in variety in our national discourse. The reason why we're not having a lot of progressive laws that address the roots of our problems is because we have the elite class in the Senate who are entrenched because they are the ones that are elected time and again. It's high time that we bring in other voices from a variety of sectors in our society into the Senate.
Thank you so much for joining us on Up Close, Senatorial Aspirant Teddy Bagilat.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda DXKS